What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I wanted to talk about exclusivity. Only because Stalker 2 is coming out later this year, I believe. It's delayed, but I think into November or something. I don't know, whatever. And that game is exclusively not on PlayStation. Now, the game that PlayStation and Sony have been playing this whole generation is to keep games off of competing platforms. The same tactics that Nintendo used back in the day. Is it fair? I mean, all's fair in business, I guess, but is it actually fair? Is it like, it seems to me that it is more of a tactic of a more scared company, because they see how big and strong, how much money Microsoft has. And if they wanted to act like Sony in certain ways, they could. Like Matt Booty said back in those leaked emails, we're gonna spend them out of business. And they're kind of doing it. Now, I just saw somebody post something on Twitter. They're breaking down the percentages. Remember I said the whole thing about percentages, right? Percentages, profits, blah, 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 right? Now, they didn't do, I don't think they did profits. I think they did revenue, I believe. I don't know if it was profits. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong. I don't know. But as far as I understand it, Microsoft is making more profit than PlayStation, because I believe Sony's, the PlayStation profit margin is 7% or something like that. And they make 5.8 billion. And they only had, 500 million or something like that. It was I don't even know if those numbers, I think the 5.8 billion is right, but the how much they made, I think it might have been 400. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it was lower because it was less than 10%, and 10% would have been 500. Anyway, math. The point is, they, as in Sony and the ponies and the donkey unicorns and PlayStation, they keep putting out these revenue numbers. Nobody cares about your revenue. Nobody cares how much you made. They want to know how much profit. It's about profit, really. Profit dictates the health of the company. Profit dictates what you can do, right? You get a paycheck, you're like, yo, I got paid, son. Oh man, I gotta pay my mortgage, I gotta pay my pay insurance, I gotta pay this. How much money you got left? Let's go out somewhere. I got $5.20 left. I can't do nothing. I'm gonna be eating toothpaste for dinner for a minute. I'll be eating water and the free bread they throw out at the end of the day. I'm gonna eat, because I can't afford nothing. Because my profit is nothing. So, I mean, Sony's a big corporation. They could borrow money to make games and stuff. But think about Sony as a person. Personal finance, right? If you make $500,000, let's just say, and your bills are $495,599, and that's it. That's all you got for that's for the whole year. That's all you got. I mean, that's a bad example, but math. But I'm just saying that is a poor, not accounting, but it's poor. The balance as far as what either a company or a personal person would want to make. How can you even save? How can you put that money that you're making profit towards anything worthwhile when it's barely anything? You can make 2 AAA bangers with that money, $400 something million, excuse me, right? Because their games are so expensive. That's why they pushed their games, because they couldn't afford to put them out. Now, I don't know if they cut hours. I don't know what they're doing in order to compensate for. I mean, I know they're closing studios and firing people. That's what they're doing over at Bungie and other places. So that's one way to keep the budget right. I mean, Microsoft does the same thing, because whether you believe it or not, Microsoft actually has a budget. They have a budget saying, okay, this is our budget, this is our gaming budget. It's not like, Xbox has $3 trillion to play with. No, that's not. No, that's obviously that's what the company's worth, not what money they have. Now, they have a lot of money, in the bank chilling, but that's for acquisitions. That's for, I don't know if it's for Game Pass. I think Game Pass is self-sufficient, if I'm not mistaken. I keep hearing conflicting results, of course. Like Colin Moriarty, he'll say, Game Pass is not making no money. They only made $1 billion or whatever, or something, $5 billion for. I'm like, huh? I thought it was 7 and they were spending 1. That's what I thought. But whatever, I'm giving up on I'm about to give up on the numbers game, because it does matter, yes. I don't think Microsoft is in any trouble at all, because they got bangers coming out. They got money coming in. ABK just said, boop, boop, y'all are good, you know what I'm saying? And one thing that I know, these ponies and donkey unicorns are Sony and PlayStation. They're scared, and that's why they keep bringing this up. They keep bringing up the argument, this is Xbox with ABK, what they made, and this is Xbox without ABK. And the funny thing is, they were still in the positive without ABK. I mean, sure, it wasn't as much because ABK is the biggest. Call of Duty is the biggest game. Candy Crush is the biggest game. Warcraft is the biggest. They have like 3 of the biggest game in video games right now. Don't you expect it to go up more than double digits? Well, I mean, it was double digits. But I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, but you're acting like they were going down, 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 and they were going up without Activision Blizzard. It wasn't like they said. They put the numbers next to each other to make it look bad, but it's growth. And for them, when they're saying, there's no more growth, we got to figure out a way to grow stuff, blah, 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 they're doing it. They're doing it without ABK, but they have ABK now. So now they have a new standard. They have a new baseline that they have to go above, where 40%, it was 39 point something percent. So the next fiscal, it's got to be more, right? Because then Xbox is losing or Call of Duty is not doing as well. These narratives, how they work. But the main thing I wanted to talk about, not the numbers and percentages, because I hate percentages, is the exclusivity game. And I saw it on Twitter. People were saying, are you guys going to want to buy Kena after it was 3 years and it was exclusive? PlayStation made it exclusive, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy Kena. I'm going to say Kena. Everybody's like Kena. I'm like, I'm going to say Kena because I said this way before. I knew I had not a friend, but there was a kid in my high school. His name was Kenyatta. And it's spelled just like Heist, Kenyata. I don't know if it was a double T. His name is Kenyatta, right? Kind of, sort of African sounding, right? Sure, whatever. But it was K-E-N, just like Kenyatta. Well, it's not Kenyatta, it was Kenyatta. So I'm going to say Kenna. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. It should be keen because that. Anyway, whatever. Look, what I hate more than percentages? Rules of the English language. Because, oh Lord, it's so bad. Anyway, this whole exclusivity thing, this whole thing that Sony has been playing at all this generation, some last generation. Once again, Microsoft was guilty of this. Nintendo was really guilty of it, but Microsoft wasn't as guilty of it. They just had the marketing for Call of Duty, and they had some exclusive things, like maybe maps and map packs and stuff. But it wasn't exclusive for the whole time. Can't go on PlayStation Plus. Well, it wasn't existing at the time. It wasn't as ridiculous as what PlayStation's contracts are. And that's my problem. If it was exactly the same how it was back in the day, right? where it's like, okay, it's going to be exclusive on PlayStation for 3 months or 6 months or something like that. Year at most. Then I'd be like, you know what? It's fair. Xbox did the PlayStation back in the day. But no, they go beyond that. You know, and they say you can't put it on Game Pass. You can't do it. Kenna's not on Game Pass. Why do you think that is? Because they signed a contract, the people who make Kenna, with Sony saying you can't put the game on. You know? And I'm like, I mean, Microsoft they are very, they're a better company than I am. If that makes sense. Because my lizard brain would have turned on and said, nope, screw them fools. We destroying them. They tried to destroy us. We're gonna destroy them. All's fair in video games and war, right? So, I mean, shoot. Like, first, like bringing their games to PlayStation, that's fine, because that's once again I use the analogy of Microsoft is basically pimping PlayStation. They say, yo, here you go, give me that money. Where's my money? Here, we're gonna give you this. Where's my money? Just like Call of Duty. Microsoft will be pimping PlayStation with that Call of Duty. And yeah, they'll get a little piece, you know, to keep them satiated, to keep them afloat, basically. But the more that it is successful on PlayStation, the more money Xbox makes. And I know that is irking PlayStation right now. It's like, oh man, I can't believe it. Oh, it's so successful. Like, if they come out and say, yo, Call of Duty is the most successful game on PlayStation, it sold so many copies. And then you go look over the Xbox and they're like, thanks PlayStation for selling our game. We'll give you a little cut, but you know what I'm saying? That's a bad situation to be in, PlayStation. And everybody's like, oh, Sony's going to be all right. They're going to be all right. I mean, sure, they probably will if they choose to continue to be in the video game space how they are, or, you know, as PlayStation or whatever. But if they want to be like Xbox, if they want to maintain what they're doing, which they're not going to be able to because they can't even make games right now. I mean, I already said that the tide is shifting, right? The tide is shifting. We're seeing it. We're seeing it in the rhetoric. You know, Jason Schreier's over there making fun of PlayStation. That never happened before. They're laughing at people. Are laughing at PlayStation. Concord's failed already. It's not even out, but everybody's like, nah, no, nope, nah, nope. It's like no hope for that game. And just from the footage, I'm like, it kind of looks kind of boring. It kind of looks kind of slow and boring. I don't know. You know, once again, like the competition with that. And it's not even like Xbox is making all these things happen against PlayStation. PlayStation did it to themselves. They weren't prepared for the gas revolution, and their product is subpar. They're making games that nobody wants to play. And they can only, seems to me, make one type of game. And that's the, you know, one and done. Sad Dad Walking Simulator, third person. That's all they can make. And look, I'm not saying those games are bad. I'm just saying if you go only like, look, there's a saying like, yo, stay in your lane, do what you do best, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work with video games. If you're a console holder and you want, you know, to be everything, to be the, look, Microsoft is taking the right path. And everybody's saying, oh, but they're buying their way to the... No. Let's not do that, okay? Because guess what Sony did? They bought Insomniac on discount. For real. I bet you the dude from Insomniac is still kicking himself in the booty hole like, damn, man. I know I keep saying it, but that is like so... And they've done so much more work than Bungie has. And they got a tenth of what they got. It's ridiculous. You know? And so PlayStation is making these games nobody wants to play. Their gas games are failing. Just constantly failing. Concord seems to be the next one to fail. They're going to come out with another game. I mean, I guess the Horizon game might be okay, but I really don't know. I don't know because, you know, this goes back to how they have they have conditioned their fans to expect certain type of quality from PlayStation. And if it is less than that, then it's going to be trash, hot trash, garbage, and they're not going to accept it. That's what Sony has done. That's what they have built over the years with their products. And the problem isn't the quality of games that they make or what type of games they make. The problem is that's all they made, and it's too expensive. And Sean Layden said, yo, we can't do this. We can't maintain this. Even though people like it, and it doesn't really make us a lot of money, but it makes us some money. And they're looking at the gas games. They're just shoveling in the shoveling, and Fortnite is shoveling in the money. Minecraft shoveling all these gas games. They're making so much money, and PlayStation is not even a part of that. PlayStation would be dominating if they would have done the same thing that Microsoft did and invest in gas games, and not just. It's like they were allergic to it. Like they're like, nope. Like they were just offended by the notion that, oh, we're gonna make a gas multiplayer. They were slow to uptake multiplayer. Who was first? Xbox. Who is the best right now? Xbox. Out of the three, Nintendo was barely non-existent. I don't know what service they're using. Probably Amazon. I don't know what Sony's using. Probably Amazon. I don't know. I heard that they were doing something, Sony and Microsoft with Azure, but I don't think so anymore. I don't know. I know Sony was getting the cloud technology, the server technology, and then Microsoft was getting the AI technology. And if y'all don't know, Microsoft was running away with the AI technology. They putting their damn chips. They putting the chips in. They got chips in computers right now. Yep, they already. And those are like those are basically the prototypes for the next gen consoles. Because the Surface team I believe, is working on the handheld. And Jason Ronald's team is working on the big boy home console. And so we went in through all of that and how I feel I want it to go. But it's all good. But it's like, I'm looking at Microsoft. I'm looking at, how they're doing this stuff. And the future looks bright just with their studios and stuff. And then I'm like, well, if Matt Booty's kind of in charge a little bit. So it's like, if Matt Booty has his way, he'd be like, yo, Phil, it's time to press the button, flip, let's go. And that button is start buying out these exclusives. Same thing that Sony's doing right now. Start buying them out. Microsoft can do that. Like, how much is Sony offering you? We gonna double it, let's go. Boom. I would be careful with what games, and they have done that. You see that they're like Stalker 2 is exclusive. A lot of smaller games are exclusive. I just started playing Dungeons of Hinterberg. I would say I played probably not even an hour, right? I'm gonna keep playing it, but I would say my first critique is the animation. If the animation was like Hi-Fi Rush animation, I'd be like, yo, let's go. But also, the character faces are a little weird. But anyway, I understand what it is. And it's 3D cell shaded stuff. So I'm going to keep playing it. It seems pretty cool. But, smaller games like that. Was it Towerborn or whatever that game is called? That looks kind of hot. I'm going to play that. The other game, it's Pixel. It just got delayed into next year, 2025. I don't know. The name's escaping me right now, but another exclusive. I believe it's exclusive. So, they're doing it, but they're doing it. I think I don't know if they're doing it more not judiciously, but I think they're being more picky about what they're choosing. Just like they said no to the Spider-Man deal not because Spider-Man isn't a cool character and a cool IP to have to sell consoles and stuff. That's true, but they look at the numbers, and Sony's whole thing is like, it doesn't matter if we don't make any money off of Spider-Man, as long as we're not losing money, it's gonna sell us consoles, right? That's the mentality over at Sony, PlayStation, right? But Microsoft is like, how much money are we making off of this deal? And they know in the back of their mind, they know their workings, everything that's going on with their company, that console sales aren't the end all be all. And that's the main difference about these two corporations, Sony and Microsoft. You know, Nintendo is similar to Sony, but they're way more successful in doing that. But that's the difference, and people just don't understand it. They still think that we're still living in an age, in a world where console sales matter. And, you know, look, we're repeating the same thing over and over again because they don't get it. But anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Appreciate y'all shows. Subscribe. Hit in the comments below. Let me know about these exclusive things. Do you think Microsoft is gonna dip, and smack them with some more exclusives? I think they're gonna put a little bit of pressure on PlayStation in that respect, but I don't think they need to, because ABK is such a juggernaut, and it's shifted their whole business, the Xbox business, the video games business, so strongly that it's like I don't think they need to. But anyway, I'll catch you on the next one too.